back here with Necralant again. The first time we're running it back with a band. Necralant, you want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Nolan. I'm currently doing vocals, guitar, and bass. The founder of the band.
And I'm Logan. I'm the drummer and producer of the album and the new face.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And yeah, the new face. When did you join the band, Logan?
Yeah, it was God, about a year ago ish at this point, right?
Yeah, it was in like March or April. March, I would say, back in 2024.
Yeah. So actually Nolan was over my house. We were just kind of hanging out, bumping some records, and he got a phone call from Jack. And so he's like, "Hey, I gotta go take this." And he comes back like 15 minutes later and he's like, so Jack's gonna leave, which means Logan, you want to join the band. And I was like, oh God. I mean, yeah, I'm totally in. I mean, look, first and foremost, I mean, I was a Necroland fan. Obviously I've supported Nolan and his, and the whole band and in the pursuits for a long time. So I didn't want Jack to leave the band. I would have loved to see Jack continue, and keep everything moving. But like, obviously, I mean, I got the offer. I'm obviously going to take that. I was very honored to get that opportunity, and it's been such a great, I don't know, such a great position to have for the last like year.
It's the first album to feature you and the departure of both Hell and Jack. Um, it was fully written and demoed by October 24th and ready to be dropped March 14th of this year. Um, Recorded at Upside by Mark Bray, right?
Yep.
Yep, amazing. And mixed and mastered by Logan. So do you guys
Yep.
want to talk about that? The recording process and then the process behind mixing and mastering the album?
Sure. Yeah. So the recording process, it was very good. We went in at the very end of 2024. It was like October 27th we started, and yeah, we got everything done pretty swiftly.
October.
And I meant December. Sorry. Yeah, December 27th we went in, and yeah, we got everything done. Just did all the tracking, and yeah, then we handed it off to Logan, and he's been doing all the mixing and the mastering. We got that finished up. What did it take, like a month to do production of it?
Yeah, about a month-ish. I mean, I got the second I got my hands on those stems, I got to work, and we pretty much had the majority of the mix together within the first couple of days of me having it. Then it was nitpicky stuff. Then it was like, all right, let's try these vocals again. Let's get another take on this, or we need to go track this again, or something like that. Like a couple of redos, but not many. Um, which is really about it for the delaying of. I say delaying lightly. I mean, we still got moving on this fast, but that was all we really had to do. Other than that, the mix came together quickly. I mean, Mark did an outstanding job recording this. The stems sound amazing. There was not much I had to do to them, to be honest, and then the mastering just kind of came together quick. It helps that I was doing both. I mean, I like usually having another set of ears on it, but I knew where I wanted to go with it. Nolan knew where he wanted to go with it, so we could just kind of keep it in our own hands and
Yeah.
push it forward.
Yeah, it was really great having everything being done like in house like this, like having Logan do it. Just because yeah, we both had a vision for how we wanted to sound and everything, and so it was really easy. Just he would send passive of the mix like to me, then we just go back and forth and work everything out. And yeah, Logan did a great job on it, and it was really cool having him do it.
It was
Nice.
a lot of fun to do. I mean, I this is a very different mix style than BP, for example. I mean, it's a harsher album. It's even just compared to Cosmic Gallows, there's a lot more of a harsh edge to it. Which
Right. Not sorry, not to cut you off, but yeah, definitely a harsher sound than what you like for like you said Beneath Purgatory. Like yeah, the harsh black metal for Necrolant, and then it's like not to call it like clean and polished, but like your the production for at least the last album was fucking crazy. So
right, and so it was really fun to
and the
play.
Redux
What's that?
and the Redux of his swag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was really fun to play with a completely different style. And like Nolan would send me a couple songs and be like, hey, like, listen to this and kind of, dissect it a little bit, get the feel of this. And this is kind of the direction I'm thinking of. And I mean, they were really good guides for me to go forward because it was a whole new world for me mix wise. But I mean, Nolan has an idea of what he wants and was able to convey it in such a way that made mixing it just a crisp process for me.
Yeah.
Nice. Now I want to go into the songwriting a bit, but I kind of want to go off topic. Can we talk about Cosmic Gallows?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because
Cool.
we haven't talked to each other since that.
No, that's what I was saying.
So yeah,
Over a whole
I'm down
chapter.
for that. Yeah.
Nice. So my first question is, how do you feel the songwriting has changed from the self-titled debut and Temples of Ruin to Cosmic Gallows?
Okay.
Because like aside from Essence of Life Devoured, because that one was like written a while ago, I feel like before the rest of the songs on Cosmic Gallows, the rest of the songs on that album sound so much different than the first two albums.
Yeah, there was a
Pretty much.
lot of there was a lot of progression, just like musically and songwriting wise. For those
Yeah.
songs, the ones on Cosmic Gallows, I feel like there was a bigger gap between when they were written. Like they were it wasn't the same idea and approach going into all of them the way it was with Temples of Ruin. Like so I'll start. The first album was a lot more like the writing process for Cosmic Gallows. It was a different like feeling and a different approach going into writing each song, which is why the songs on the first album sound very different, like it was from each other. Like it was a whole collection of all just different ideas and inspirations. Whereas Temples of Ruin was a lot more focused of this one idea that I wanted to flesh out a bit. Like it was there was one energy that I wanted to flow through the whole album. And then Cosmic Gallows was a bit more like the first album. Like every song sounds pretty different from each other, but they
Yep.
way like there's a theme that flows through them, but they all each one individually was like strongly inspired by a different kind of feeling and energy. And I think the new album was more like Temples of Ruin. Like there was a quicker writing process. Like there wasn't a ton of time in between each song, so it was a lot of the same kind of approach and the same kind of feeling going into it because I wanted it to be more of a collective, like kind of like Temples of Ruin.
Right. So the the songs were written long before it was released, right? The
For
songs were, huh?
for which album?
On Cosmic Gallows.
Yeah, I think everything was written for Cosmic Gallows by the beginning of 2023. And so those were all written like in 2022, I'm pretty sure, except Essence Life Devoured was written long before that, of course, because that one was originally released at the beginning of 2022. But I believe like it was the beginning of 2023 when we started tracking demos for Cosmic Gallows, and then it didn't end up being recorded until the summer of 2023, and then it wasn't released. Like the whole split wasn't released until June 2024. So yeah, the songs were written quite a long time before it actually came out.
So now my next question is, how long after writing the Cosmic Gallows songs did you start writing the material for Upheaval?
The upheaval writing began. It was quite a while after writing the Cosmic Gallows songs, but we started tracking demos for Upheaval before the split even came out. So we started writing the songs for Upheaval in like I say December or like January of 2024.
So yeah, you were over my place doing demos with me like winter time, like
Yeah.
last year. I mean, we got to it quick.
Yeah.
Nice. And was the Cosmic Gallows album completely written by you?
There was some help, like Hell wrote a lot of their bass lines for those songs, like especially in Black Gnosis Wings.
Okay.
They wrote the bass parts for that, and there was also a lot of input from Hell and from Jack. and even from Mark a bit, because Mark was in the band when we started
Yeah,
tracking demos for that album, and then also Mark like in the studio was making suggestions and stuff. So there was some collaboration, especially with Black Gnosis Wings in particular, but a little bit on some of the other songs too.
yeah. Yeah, I totally forgot that Mark was even in the band during that process. Like, played live songs from that album
Yeah,
with the original vocals original lyrics, right? Because the lyrics changed on what's that one? Not Black Gnosis. Oh yeah, Black
yeah,
Gnosis.
it was
Black
Black
Gnosis. Right.
Gnosis. Yeah, yeah, we performed that song under a different title with different lyrics with Mark on vocals when that song like was first written.
It was
Yeah.
an evil set.
Evil
Yeah,
Star of Set.
yep.
Uh,
Yeah, so yeah, Mark had a big hand in the writing of that song, like a lot of the vocal patterns and whatnot. And then like I said, there was quite a bit of collaboration with some of the music. Like I wrote all the riffs for it, like the guitar parts and stuff, but some of the drum change ups and then the bass part and everything, like Hell and Jack had their hands in that.
Nice. So, do you feel like for Upheaval you've expanded on like that new sound for Cosmic Gallows, or like you're doing something new entirely?
I definitely feel like we expanded upon that sound. Like I felt really good going into this album after releasing Cosmic Gallows because I felt like we had a foundation of that sound, like the bigger, more epic, yet still like had the evil edge to it, and just like that kind of dark energy flowing through it. I felt like this album definitely builds upon that sound, so I felt good going into the writing after releasing that.
Yeah, it acts like the precursor, right?
Yeah, it like ramps it up a bit, I'd say.
And so for this new album, did you and Logan both contribute to the songwriting, or was it a lot of just you?
So I would come in like with the songs completed, like ready for us to demo it. But some of the songs, like I would bounce some ideas off of Logan, and Logan would give suggestions for like how to improve, like maybe change the drum parts a bit, or maybe cut this part out, or repeat some of the riffs here. So there was quite a bit of like arrangement collaboration there for some of the songs.
yeah, I wasn't providing any music like new musical ideas. It was taking a lot of Nolan's kind of ideas that he had and seeing other perspectives and honestly like I think I only really affected like 3 songs. I think most of them were untouched. Um but like for example um oh shit, what's the new name for that song?
Scourging Light.
Scourging Light. Yep, I'm still thinking of the demo title.
Yeah, we didn't put the actual name for that song until like right before we uploaded it to all the streaming and stuff. So
Yeah, we
like,
took a long time on naming that
yeah, I'm
one.
like shit. We need an actual name for this
So,
song.
so Deep Cut. What was the original title?
Zodiac Bloodshed. It was a reference to the song it was inspired by.
Yeah, yeah, I almost called it that. So
Yeah, because it was inspired by Sign of the Zodiac by Celestial Bloodshed. It's a Norwegian band from the mid 2000s.
Nice.
good band.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that one for example. There was a different ending to it, and I listened to it and I was like, you know what, Nolan, maybe we just cut the ending and just end it where the song actually ends now. So like things like that, I
yeah,
did, but like for the most part, I didn't really need to do much. I mean, the songs came together great. Like, there's no point in me putting my hand in the cookie jar if I've already got enough cookies, like if there's like they came together really well.
yeah.
I didn't really feel like there was anything for me to do for more than half of them. So and again, like I offered a suggestion, but if we didn't end up going with it, like we didn't end up going with it. This is Nolan's vision, right? If I want my vision, I got BP. So like, I'm along for the ride, and I think the final products came out the way they should. They came out great.
Top to bottom. I don't have them pulled up, so if you guys can help me. I know the first song was called
Inverted Dawn.
Inverted Dawn.
Yep.
Inverted Dawn. When I first heard this one, I was like, oh, okay. I saw him in for. That's how I knew it was like Cosmic Gallows. Not to say part two, but this is like the same sound. It's like the same sound, and I fucked with it so hard. And what I really really fucked with was that chorus. That
Oh
was
yeah.
another like new territory moment. Like I never heard a chorus like that from Necralant, and it fucking blew me away.
Thanks.
So melodic.
Yeah, that riff, I love that riff. It's a total like Finnish black metal type thing, like a
Yeah.
Saxon kind of sound. Yeah, it was very inspired by that kind of thing, and it was just like total straight up like I guess traditional black metal they'd call it, like those Twilight riffs. And I thought mixing that in with like, and then right after that, it's almost like a thrash riff. So I thought it had a good mix of styles, mix of energy.
I remember you showing me this song for demoing, and you're showing me the chorus, and then you look at me and you get this smile and you go, now it's the Jack riff.
Yeah, yeah,
Jack's gonna like this one.
yeah.
No, it's such a banger of a riff. I love the little thrash break. That part gets my fist pumping every time.
Yeah, that song definitely blew me away, and it's such a great opening track. And I figured, like, you did Serpent's Return as the single for Temples of Ruin,
Yep.
and I can't actually remember the track list for Cosmic Gallows. What was the first track of Cosmic besides the intro?
Plagueborn was first.
Yeah, so and then that was a single too. So
Yeah,
I
that actually came out a
figured,
year ago from today. The single
God, was it
Plagueborn.
really?
Yeah, a year ago from today we
crazy.
released the Plagueborn single, and that was also the day we played our last show with Jack.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I figured that from that pattern, you were gonna drop this song as the single, as the first single at least, to like give them
Oh
a
yeah,
taste.
still the same one.
And his likeness ended up
Hmm.
being the first single, but great song to pick. So with that, I guess we can start talking about the first single from the album, right? Got a
Yep.
good segue in his
Yeah.
likeness.
Yep.
All right, do you well, I'll tell you, it's fucking ripping. That this I think I'm pretty sure it's just the second riff that comes in. It's so fucking like when the vocals start, I think it's
Oh
so
yeah.
evil. It's so dark
Oh
and
yeah.
evil.
It's
And
it's twisted.
and also later on with the tremolo runs,
Mhm.
so tasty. It's like so good. Do you want to talk about the song?
Um. Yeah. I liked. Yeah, that was one of the first songs that we started working on for the album. That was like the second song we ever demoed.
Yeah,
for-
that one started coming together when we were in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah, we were in Logan's your basement there, parents'
Yeah,
basement or something. Yeah, and
house sitting for my parents. And
yeah, yeah, we demoed it together. That was really early on, and yeah, I felt very strongly about that song. It had a good energy to it right off the bat when it comes in, and then there's the chorus riff. I felt like it kind of brought us into new territory with like the big held out notes with the vocals over it, and like the thunderous drums and everything. It gives that like epic feeling, and then it goes into that like it brings it back into the sorrowful and evil feeling with the tremolo.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt that and then when the verse riff comes in right after that, I felt the way the emotions flow through that song. I really liked the way that that ended up coming together, and yeah, so we picked that as a single because it just seemed like a good representative of the album. You think?
yeah, it felt like a pushing of the sound. Like it's a Necralant song through and through, but it felt like it was a representative of where the album was going to go in relation to where the albums and previous have been. For a while, that was like my favorite tune on the record. I don't know if it still is now. Now that I've heard them all fully mixed, it's up there though. I do love that song a lot. I love the way it came together. Demoing that was so much fun. Putting the actual thing together and hearing it come to life. So yeah, I love that song. I'm really glad that we got to release that as a single, and to have that be the lead off just kind of feels fitting to me.
Yeah. Another thing that was new territory for us that was Logan's idea and Logan performed on the album was the keyboards after the second chorus when
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I
chorus
heard that in the mix.
yeah, yeah, they're like subtly laid in there, but it gives it
Yes.
more epic feel to it. And that's something we never really played around with, like putting it into the actual songs themselves over the black metal parts. It's always been either as an intro or as like an interlude song, like the Firmament or Cosmic Gallows title track. But yeah, putting it in the song like that, that was a bit of new territory, but I think it came out really well. Logan did a great job.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it was so good the way it was because I heard it in the headphones when I heard it the first time, and I was like, like I love it because I never used to really be a fan of synth and black metal, but oh my god, for some reason I love it. And when I heard that, I was like, no way, this is sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
could totally take that in my notes.
we were both on the same page with that too, because like I showed it to Nolan, and I remember like before I sent you the demo, I either called you or texted you and said I put some synths in it, and he was like, and you know, it's subtle enough because like yeah, I think synths and black metal, I'm not always 100% on. Like Anthems to the Welkin at Dusk just sounds whimsical to me, but like, you know, if it's done subtly in a way that's going to build some sort of atmosphere and add to the music rather than take over the music, I'm all for it. And I think that was just subtly done enough. Like I didn't want any more synth than that.
Yeah.
And just in little spurts to just fill the sound.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as that. I'm not a big like synth driven black metal fan at all, but like the album The Last Supper by Belphegor, even though it's more of a death metal album, but that's a perfect example of like when I really like synths used in metal. Like there are some parts in that album where they just have like a subtle like dun, 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 something like played on the synth,
Right.
like emphasizes the riff more rather than adding like another riff on top of the guitars. Like with the synth, I think when it's used as an emphasis like that, it can be really cool.
Yeah, sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
Nice. Um, is the album a conceptual album or is it just like, collection of songs?
It could be seen as a conceptual album. It was a not really like there's no narrative that runs through it, but there is a particular framework that it was written within for pretty much all the lyrics.
Okay. And all the lyrics, I haven't even checked to see if the lyrics have been released for the song yet, but um, do you want to explain the lyrics a little bit or no?
Yeah, sure. I'll
Nice.
touch upon it a bit. They were written within the framework of very related to like chaos Gnosticism and Satanism, like Luciferianism, just like a very aggressive spiritual framework. Like it's a lot about like connecting my physical self with my the forces of primordial darkness, if you will, and the chaos dimension. Yeah, it's yeah, there's pretty intense lyrics on this album. I put a lot of time into them. I hope listeners will read through them once they're released.
Yeah, I'll definitely read through them. One thing I have a hard time writing is lyrics. I'm not a very creative person when it comes to lyric writing.
Hmm. Yeah, it can be tough to get started, but once you feel like an inspiration, like when you have an idea you want to get out, sometimes it'll just flow out, which is it's good. But sometimes, yeah, it can definitely be a pain.
Yeah.
I hate writing lyrics.
And tagged along with the single is a re-recorded version of "Host for a Black Mass."
Yeah.
So it sounds fucking amazing. What
Thank
conspired you guys to redo that song?
well, it's been a definite staple of our live set for so long. It's our most streamed song on like Spotify and all that. So it's
Is it
been,
really?
yeah, it's like,
I'll get the number.
yeah, it completely like outdoes the other ones too in our top five.
Really?
So it's like
It's like
easily,
more than double number two.
yeah, it's like by far our most popular song on that front. So,
Great song.
yeah, we wanted to have like just a more solid version of it released that has like more that captures more of the energy of when we play it live. Because on the first album, like it was a very raw, like almost demo type black metal album. And some of my instrumentation may have been a bit sloppy on it. So we wanted to have like just a more solid and bigger sounding and more energy filled version of the song for people to listen to, have like a different kind of representation of it.
Yeah, it definitely captures that, like the new sound, like the new era. I would say of
Mm.
Necralant.
Yeah, I
You got
mean,
the numbers?
go ahead.
I thought you had the numbers.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
yes, I do. I do. The original host is at on Spotify 10,268 at this moment, which is absurd. Uh,
10K.
the second highest song is In a Grim Time. The
Wow,
first
really?
one's a lot of love, and I get it.
Yeah, first album. Sometimes I feel like it's gonna be like way in the future when bands, like they keep going on. They got like 10 albums or something. People still come up to them and they're like, "Oh, I love your first album." And they're like, "Oh, what about everything we've done since then?" Yeah, because to
I
me,
know,
I'm
right?
like, "Oh, what about Cosmic Gallows, man? What about Temples of Ruin?" But yeah, they Host and In a Grim Time, all those songs, they still are like our biggest ones.
Well, from my standpoint too, as someone who hasn't been in the band for long and who has seen the band live many times, like the debut songs sound awesome live.
Oh yeah.
Um, it translates less on the record. And I think getting the chance to actually bring, Nolan's ideas of the time to a bit more life now is awesome. Um, because like, I mean, God, that record is what, 5 years old at this point?
Yeah,
You just started the
It's
band.
gonna be
I was 15 on that album.
Yeah.
it's gonna be 5 years old this year, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So like, and like, I mean, I think Temples is a fantastic record. I think Temples sounds good. Like that all came together. But the first record, I mean, still figuring things out and things like that. Like the ideas were there. Now getting to bring them to life and hear, what the ideas sound like a bit more clearly is awesome. Obviously I love the original. I love the first record, but
Yeah.
actually getting to hear the songs put together, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny too because like you got the original version of Essence, the single version, and then you got the one on Cosmic Gallows, and
Yeah.
it's both great. But I prefer the demo version more for that raw sound, and
Interesting.
that's why some people will probably gravitate more towards the debut if they like that raw sound, and the others will go towards the re-recorded one for the.
Yeah, actually,
So
we're going to talk about this.
it's really cool.
Yeah, we were talking about this like a week ago or something because yeah, we are thinking like, yeah, what do we do with the originals now? It's like, I don't know, some people have told me that they actually prefer like the more raw versions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's all up to taste.
Yep.
We gave it the bonded by blood treatment, as they say. The re-recording.
Track 3 is Upheaval, the title track.
Yep.
Yes,
Oh
sir.
my god, is it just me or does it sound like Seasons in the Abyss? It gives me Seasons in the Abyss vibes.
I told you that.
Yeah.
You that. Yeah.
Seasons in the Abyss vibes. I couldn't put my
I-
finger on it for the longest time. I was like, oh my god, this like gives me those vibes. And then the rest of the song kicks and it's like full Necralant.
Or no,
Yeah.
when you were showing me that, I told you it was a Divine Intervention tune. That's what it
Okay,
was.
yeah.
It was Divine Intervention era.
Mhm.
Yep.
Slayer.
But yeah, it's a great riff, and that one has the callback again to the intro, into the outro, which it's a great tune. It's another great ripping tune, tremolo riffs. We didn't even talk about lyrics on Inverted Dawn. I feel like such a dickhead.
No, it's all good, man.
But do you want to talk about any of the lyrics on the title track, and more or less why you picked this as the title track or made this the album title?
Sure. So the title actually was originally just for the song, because I was trying to name the song. I was like, what's a word that would just, totally sum up the theme of the song? And I was like, upheaval is a good one. Then I decided to do the little purposeful misspelling to put the word
Right.
evil, give it an extra dose of evil, if you will. And then I was like, that's pretty good for the album title overall. Like it fits the theme. It's a good title. It's it's blunt yet grand sounding. So yeah, so that's where that came from. And this was the first song that we wrote for the album, actually. It was the first one we demoed, so we knew right off the bat that we were on a good track. This is one of my favorite ones on the album.
This is
For
my
sure.
favorite one.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
that last riff before the intro comes in, where it switches to a 3-time and it's melodic, and it has you doing the growls, is the best riff on this record.
Oh yeah, that like chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that section is beautiful. Like I love that whole section.
And then yeah, it goes on to track 4, Scourging Light, aka hit it, Logan.
Zodiac Bloodshed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scourging Light, another ripping track. This one I feel like was, if I can't even look at my notes, but when I did my ranking off the first like 3 listens, I think this one was up there, or maybe this is the shortest song on the album, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think actually I had it wrong. I had this at the bottom because it was so short. I wanted more from it, but obviously you need those short and sweet songs.
Yeah.
On re-listen, I'm sure it's not going to be at the bottom spot, but it's another just ripping tune. Do you want to elaborate on it?
Yeah, this one it reminds me a lot of the procession in a few ways. Like the procession was a on temples was another one that was like pretty straightforward short songs. I was like under
Sure.
3 minutes. And the writing of it was very similar too. It was just like I was feeling very inspired. Like I was like, I need to write something right now. So I just kind of picked up the guitar and just like wrote the main melody to it. And then I just like built off of that and wrote like a very simple progression to it and ended up like just putting together the whole song like pretty quickly like that, which is probably why it's so short. But I felt like it didn't really need to do much else, like it kind of gets in and gets out.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, this one I think it has a very dark and still somewhat epic, even though it's short. But definitely like a sinister kind of creeping vibe to it.
Yeah, and this one also got shorter too in the process. Like this
Mhm.
was supposed to be a little bit longer, but I feel like it really excels at doing what it needs to do and getting out. Um and mix wise, this was actually the most frustrating song. This was the one that we had to redo, if you will, the most.
Yeah,
The lead guitars and rhythm guitars for some reason were at different volumes on this song than the other ones, which I have no idea why. So it made for like a bit more of an experience mixing that one, but when it came together, it felt really good.
yeah. I'm surprised that of all of them, it was the hardest to mix with it being the shortest.
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
We had to get the perfect balance between the melodies and the rhythms, like have the cavernous like surrounding you of
Yeah,
just like root note, but still keep the rhythms or the leads present in there.
Well, because this song, the leads and rhythms are almost entirely doing a different thing the whole song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is where they're most separated, where there is most distinctly two parts going at once. So it's really important to strike that balance. Um,
so
and
nothing. Yeah, overpowered.
yeah, and making sure that like so actually like when we were a little bit of like recording behind the scenes, is that like we recorded the leads and then when we recorded the rhythms, we actually double mic'd up the amp um to help try and get two like so we put like one mic up close and we put a completely different like a condenser way back and got us two very different sounds from the same amp. So when we were able to record, we were able to, or when we were like once we recorded, when we went to mix, I ended up having 4 tracks of rhythms, which could really help me build a just like wall of rhythm sound. And I think that's what made mixing that song so difficult was that we weren't getting that wall because the leads were just for some reason just so much louder on the recording for this song in particular. But that was a Mark idea that was awesome in the recording was double mic those rhythms so that we can just get a bigger wall of sound and just make it feel that much more impending. And I think it really nailed that target.
And then we go into track 5. My personal favorite off this album, Spearhead Trinity.
Mhm.
Um, the way I can describe it is it's the dwell within the flesh of Upheaval.
Really?
In my opinion, yeah. It's epic. It's an epic tune. It's a perfect tune. Um, that intro riff, right off the bat, the intro riff, such a sick riff. And you play that one little tail end only once throughout the entire song. That like when you
Oh, that's
when you
right.
go back up, that's like the only time you play that part. And I'm like, oh, that was so fucking sick. And that was the
Yeah.
only time. And then the chorus riff with the it's like I call it the Cannibal Corpse riff because they do that shit
Oh
in the
yeah.
Cannibal Corpse. That
Like
was
the
so fucking amazing. It was so tasty.
mm.
And then obviously the mid section, which is like I call it the dwell within the flesh section. So fucking sick. It's my favorite tune. I don't know how it didn't make a single. I don't know how it didn't make a single. That's upsetting.
Yeah,
Big,
it
big
was in the
upset.
run
kicked
Five.
around a little bit.
Yeah, for a little while we were thinking it was going to be a single. That song actually was written after we thought that the whole album was done because originally there was going to
Yeah.
be the album was going to be a bit more inflated. Like there was going to be an intro track that was just going to be like guitar and keyboard or something, and then there was going to be an outro track of just keyboard, kind of like the Cosmic Gallows title track. But then eventually we decided to just scrap that and like keep it all metal and have like a short intro at the beginning of Inverted Dawn. But after I had come up to school, we thought that the whole album was already written, but then I was just messing around writing stuff in my room, and I texted Logan. I was like, hey, I think we might have another song here. Like I was working on something that I think could make the cut for the album. So then we demoed it and we're like, yeah, we got to put it on.
And of course, I got excited because Nolan's using different time signatures, and now my prog ass is excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this tune. Absolutely. This is also the only tune that I actually do some vocals on this one as well.
Oh yeah.
The chorus, right?
Yeah, the chorus.
Figured.
Yeah. It was we didn't like there was no plans for me to do any vocals on this. But at one point I was just like, can I try? And I think we were both shocked as to how well my voice actually blended in because they are so different.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cool. And I don't know. I think this song, recording wise, was the most frustrating for me. Because it's so intricate. That's why I love it. But it was I kept making mistakes on this one. I love this tune. I have a love-hate relationship with this tune, but I also think it's one of the better ones. I love it.
Yeah, it's easily the most progressive and most intricate Necralant song.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite off the album, and it's contender for in my. I don't even know. I say top 3, but it's definitely in the top 5. I have to redo the list now. I haven't ranked the Necroland songs since the second album. Well, since the single of Essence.
You got to update it then when this thing releases.
I know.
But yeah, I'm glad that Nolan threw this track on the record eventually too, because it is such an upgrade in musicianship for both of us to play it. But it's like, we can do it, and it's cool to kind of really put a tough one out there.
Yeah.
Just, provide a bit more technical shit. So yeah, it was awesome.
And now we can talk about the second single, right? Plane of Decay.
Yep.
This is another good one. This one I felt like on my first listen, I was like, ooh, this is like the most different song on the album. That intro is that intro riff is very different from anything that Necrolant has ever done, in my opinion.
The timing of it is very different, and the patterns of it and everything.
Yeah, it sounds like there's like some like scratches on like I can't even tell what it's going on there. I haven't even tried to dissect the song like to play it, but I love when that riff comes back later with the blast beat.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
when that came by, I oh my god, I melted. That was so fucking heat. But then the song again has hasty tremolo runs throughout the entire thing. It's so good, like, and I'm glad you picked this one as a single too. Like, they're both great. Like, any of these songs could be chosen for a single, but this song was a good one to pick.
Can I say quickly on that intro riff?
Elaborate.
I remember Nolan bringing the song to me, and we're going through the song, and I'm like, we're like demoing it, and I mean, I don't know, we were getting towards the end, and I'm like, this is great and all, but what the fuck does the intro riff have to do with this? And then he goes, glad you asked, and shows me it coming back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, perfect timing. So I was like, dude, like, why is it here? And
what's funny is I wrote that riff, like that was one of the first riffs I ever wrote for the album, like while Jack was still in the band. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely gonna work its way into a song. But then I just had that, and I was like, I don't know exactly what to do with it. Like, is this gonna be a verse riff, like a main thing, or is this gonna be, like what I would do with it? Then eventually I decided, like, okay, this can be tacked on as the intro of this song, and then we can give it the break and do that
do the callback.
Hold out, and then go into the faster verse part, and then we can bring it back at the end.
Bringing it back made me go like, all right, yeah, this rules. Because at first I was like, great riff, I what's it doing? But then when it comes back,
the drum beat's way different at first, and when it comes back, like, oh, it's like I can't even describe that feeling though. Like,
But you're right though. There is something that does that just feels like a perfect way to close off the tune and
yes,
bring it all together. Like it feels like you're doing the final pull of tying shoes. I mean, it's
Oh
and
yeah.
it's so much vastly different than anything that I've heard from Necroland. Like that riff is so different.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, that's I guess like some more kind of new territory because I feel like a lot of the album was like expanding more on ideas that were touched upon like on the last few releases, like especially in Cosmic Gallows. Like we were saying, like it was building off of that, but then there's definitely some parts of the album that were totally new ideas, new territory.
yeah, and this one is a good example of it. And yeah, the whole album is flooded with them, but those fucking tremolo riffs that you do, those runs are just so good. I have such a, like that's another thing I have a hard time writing. It's like how do you just come up with stuff like that, dude?
Yeah, I've always loved some good like leads in black metal like that. I've been doing that like very often since Temples of Ruin. There's a lot of them on there. But then uh yeah, like just having that like adding the melody over the riff like that and doing those lead runs.
Yeah. Um yeah, tacked on to that single, we have another re-recorded song. I don't know. This is in my top three Necroland songs. I think it's hard to say. It's probably my number one favorite live, and it's "Descending to Power."
Mm.
Fucking awesome. And same question: what inspired you guys to do this one and not one off of like maybe Temples of Ruin or something? You chose two from the same album.
Yeah, it was again because it's a song that we play live at pretty much every show, and I felt that um we could record like a stronger version that would have the energy, like the live feeling to it. And it was another song where I felt it was a bit sloppy in the original one. Um, but so yeah, I thought re-recording it would just breathe some new life into it, so to say.
well, and I asked Nolan too if we wanted to do some Temples of Ruin songs. Because I mean, obviously, I love that record. So any excuse to play any song from that album, I'm in for.
Yeah,
Uh, and we were thinking like it's just if we're gonna re-record some songs, let's do it to ones that really could use it. Um, Temples sounds good.
true. Yeah, it's true.
Like I mean, it's just a good like raw black metal album.
Yeah.
It sounds
Yeah,
well put together for what it is. What can we really do to those songs versus something from the first record? I mean, like the in Descending in particular, is it the second chorus, if you will, with
yeah.
the noise, the
It sounds like a mic falls or something.
Yeah, it's just like a noise that you can
Yeah,
hear.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's like stuff like that, and then just be like, yeah, maybe rushing through some of the takes or something. Like, yeah, that's good. Throw it on the album, kind of thing.
yeah. That's good.
So yeah, so I was like, I want to hear like just an updated version of these songs.
also little Easter egg. If I remember correctly, I tried throwing in a little snare roll during Descending at the exact time where that noise happens in the song to replicate it. Um,
You're so real.
I tried to. I don't know if I got it at the exact right time because I think when it was like I do it live, like when it happens live, I do a little roll there. But when it was coming in the studio, it was like, oh God, like I was thinking about it and I was like, shoot, I don't want to get it on the wrong time. So I might have, I don't know. But I tried to. So I
I'm gonna
tried
definitely go
to
back and listen to that because that's so crazy that you tried to do that. That's so real.
Yeah,
I
we
love that.
go back to the OG.
That is so funny. Yeah, definitely my favorite from that first album. My favorite song live. Such a great track.
That's a
Um
fun one to play, man.
Yeah.
oh, so fun to play.
Well, and I love that middle section right towards the end there where I get to kind of let loose a little bit on the drums. Mark calls it the breakbeat part where I get a little wild on the drums. I don't know. I think that song is just so much fun to just kind of have fun with.
Yeah,
So fun.
just a total high energy, ripping tune.
The outro track of the album, Final
Mhm.
Formation, which is I feel like another track that touches the new territory. It's got a different sound than any other Necrolant song I've heard.
Mm.
Right? Right? Would you say that?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. I listen. This is like the one of the songs. Like obviously, when I listened to it through, I replayed this one before listening back to it again because I was like, oh, this one is like I had to listen to it again, and I feel like this is going to be one of those deep cut songs. I feel
Really?
like it's going to be one of those deep cut songs. Yeah. I don't know why, but I just feel like it. It's a really good tune.
Yeah, I actually hope it doesn't become a deep cut because this is my favorite on the album. I hope that this one gets some
It's a
recognition.
yeah, it's a really good song, but I don't know why.
Yeah,
It's because nobody has the attention span to get past like 3 songs on an album, but then
True.
it's like the best tunes are towards the end. So
Yes. And this one is one of them. And again, it's that new sound, that new territory for Necroland. You want to explain your writing process behind that one?
yeah, this was another one where I had like the opening riff that feels very different than the rest of the song, and I was like, all right, this is a totally different like vibe than what we've done before. Like, where do I go with it from here? And then as we got into like when the main like the riff comes in right after that, adding the melody over it was kind of like, okay, now this feels more like a Necroland song. And then it's very, it's got very grand melodic riffing to it, a lot of layered guitars and stuff. And then it gets into kind of like the Curse Visions, just like boom bam boom bam type beat during the verse. So there's like a blend of things we've done before and new things within it. And I really like the way the song progresses, and I love the outro of it. I felt that it was the perfect way to
Yes.
end the album. Yeah.
That no, the outro is peak. The outro is peak. That's one of the best riffs. That's probably I don't know. Spearhead has like the best riffs, and then I think on the album, but that outro is peak. That's like one of the best riffs on the album.
Hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Agree.
yeah, I love that outro.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
that's just the perfect way to close it. Couldn't think of a better way to close this record. And then the nice little touch of adding the synth hit at the very end of the record to cap it off the same way that it opened up with an inverted dawn, like with with the synth hit there, just with the perfect way to just make the record feel full circle.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's great. It's a great album. A great follow up to Cosmic Gallows. Do you want I know Logan said it before, but do you guys want to tell me what your favorite song is off the album?
Mine's Final Formation.
Oh
Yeah,
yes, right, you said that too.
people.
Upheaval, yep, Upheaval. And what was the hardest song to record for each of you? Like,
Final Formation, the outro guitar part, like the lead part, and then like where there's the clean break right before like all the music comes back in. That part was tough. I had to keep redoing that because I had to like really make sure my fingers were in the right spots, and it's just like picking one string at a time. So, and I didn't want to like mess it up at all because then I'd be kicking myself later listening to it. I was like, it needs to be clean. It needs to be, it needs to sound great. And then that took quite a few tries, but luckily we got it down.
Yeah, no question, Spearhead Trinity for me. Obviously, like I've play a lot of kind of time changey stuff on my own just to keep my own chops up when I'm drumming. But it is really difficult learning it when you're not like already incredibly familiar with it. Like this is a song that wasn't released. It's only been kind of in our demos for like a month and a half, so I wasn't really natural with it. I mean, how many times did we restart that song because of me? Like 15.
Yeah, it was quite a few.
Yeah. That was the only one that I like heavily fucked up. Was just there was just so many time changes that I just kept messing up. And like again, Mark has seen me playing drums for what 7 years at this point, and even they said like I've never seen you more mad drumming ever in my life. Like so, I had one cymbal that was cracked, right going into recording. And thank God I decided it was this symbol and not any of my other nicer ones. But I was so pissed at one point that I just like stood up and started punching the shit out of that symbol. I was getting so frustrated. I'm not like that at all, like ever. But this song just got under my skin for some reason. And we got there. There's every record that I've ever played on drums. There's always one song that I have to take like a million takes, and then the rest of them I'm fine. There's always one. It was Betrayed on the Martyr Approach. It was Mourning Myself on Grisly Spectacle. It was Spearhead Trinity on Upheaval. One song.
Do you guys have any tour dates planned for the promotion of the album?
I guess we can reveal it now. I'm not sure if this is going to be announced yet when the interview drops, but we're in the process of booking a like release show for the album. We have the date and venue booked already, and we're in contact with some of our fellow New England black metal brethren to be on the show. So yeah, so that'll be announced at some point.
Bass player leaked or nah?
Ooh, I did not expect this to come up.
I don't know. Right now, the individual that we have playing with us at the show is the anonymous commander of 4-string desecration.
Okay, I fuck with it. I fuck with that. Nice. The album drops March 14th. Is there anything you guys want to add on to this?
I'd say thank you for everybody who's taking an interest in the album. I hope everybody gives it a good listen, and yeah, hope everyone gets something out of it.
Yeah. Enjoy, like, just listen to it, dive into it. There's a lot to dissect there. I mean, Nolan writes some deep tunes, and there is a lot to get out of them, and they get stuck in your ear. They certainly have for me. And so just enjoy, go into it and dive deep. And again, thanks for everyone for listening, for accepting me with open arms into the band, and also like just all the awesome people who support us. Like, thank you. So we're really excited to see what this album does for the project going forward.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you guys for joining me here on one of the returning episodes for the Circle Beneath the Circlecast. It's been an absolute pleasure. The fucking album rips so hard. I can't stress that enough. It's an understatement. I believe in Spearhead Supremacy single. I don't know. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Of course, thank you.
Tune in March 14th, Upheaval, Necralant, forever.